Hello. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Shakira Rifos, and I'm the Education Outreach Manager here at the California Film Institute. Thank you for coming to the Mill Valley Film Festival. We're super excited that you all are here. There's a lot of traffic on the way to this area right now, so we started a little bit later and to give folks some breathing room. There's going to be some folks coming in late today, but I appreciate that you all are here and early, which is on time. Thank you. This event is a double screening, which is kind of a rare thing, plus a extended conversation after, or a workshop. It's really kind of a dream come true. I've been at this organization for 6 years now. This is my 6th festival, and the landscape of content that we were showing looked a little bit different when I got here. But I'm happy to say that, man, the education department, we've just got some really great staff members who are just really prioritizing showing authentic content that students want to see. They want to see themselves reflected back on at them on screen, right? So we work really hard to make sure that we do that. We want to, in order to be able to show content like this and to have a festival like this, we have many sponsors, but one of them specifically for this event is KQED. We want to thank them so much for their support. Nima Gobir from, that's cool. Nima Gobir from Mindshift is going to come up and give some thoughts on the film and introduce the panel later. So there will be a workshop/panel. The first short film is called Founder Girls by an amazing director named Contessa Gale. And the feature, I Am Hope, will be followed by a conversation about education and mindfulness in the classroom. We had an education screening with about 300 elementary and middle school kids this morning, and they were so stoked and really excited. The energy was incredible in the theater below, and I hope that you will feel the same way about what you're about to watch. Thank you for being here.
Hi, everyone. How are you? Let's start this off with a deep breath. I know I need it. Big inhale. H-A, exhale. I am thrilled to be here with you today. My job right now is to plug a couple of KQD things and then get out of the way so that you can have access to a pretty wonderful well of knowledge that's in the room with us. I'll introduce myself. My name is Nima Gobir. I work at KQED, who is also a proud sponsor of this event tonight. I am the host of Mindshift, which is a podcast all about the future of learning and how we raise our kids. Our audience includes parents, teachers, policymakers, lifelong learners. Chances are, if you're finding yourself here in this room, you'll find something you love on Mindshift. So please feel free to check us out on Twitter or Facebook or wherever you get your podcasts. Another thing I'm going to plug real quickly is my colleague's new series. You might have heard of Pendarvis Hershaw, who is, yes, give it up for Penn, who is one of the co-hosts of Right Now-ish. He just dropped a new series called Hyphy Kids Got Trauma. And it's all about the hyphy movement here in the Bay Area. We know that movement as being fun, raucous, full of movement. And there's a lot of stuff that happened that movement came out of. There's a lot of pain, and it was a time when violence was ripping through the Bay Area. And so Penn talks about that on his podcast. He talks about a lot of his personal stories, and it's a podcast about how music is a way that we cope and also a way that we remember. So please check that out as well. But today we are here at the Mill Valley Film Festival to celebrate I Am Hope, directed by ShakaJamal. You saw it, a really amazing film about just how we can meet young people where they're at, how we can show up for them better, how we can support them in having the tools to expand their awareness and pursue their dreams. So we have a panel that is going to come up here today. Of course, we're going to have the director, ShakaJamal, who was at the forefront of this project. He's going to share his insights about the origins of this project and then also his hopes for the future. We also have with us Ericka Huggins, activist, educator. Ooh, yeah, we can give it up for that. The mystique. A woman who really needs no introduction, but has been doing amazing work around the Bay Area, a member of the Black Panther Party, a yogi, just a luminary. We also have today Kamau Bell, Kamau Bell, excuse me. Yes, who you have maybe seen on the picket lines in Oakland or heard in your headphones, is on several podcasts and several shows, a acclaimed comedian, and just a critical voice that we need today. So we'll be welcoming Kamau Bell as well. And then here to moderate it all is Van Cedric Williams, who is the Oakland Unified School District Board of Directors, District 3, I believe, and has a lot of skill in moderating things, because if you've been to a school board meeting, you know that they go off. So we're excited to have him joining us. And just hear about how these simple solutions, these solutions that seem minor, like yoga, kids breathing in schools, things that don't need a lot of tools, don't need a lot of fanfare, they work. They're serving our Black and brown kids in this community right now, and we get to hear about how it's happening and what we can do to support this work. So thank you so much for being here. We will also have a reception in the Mark Raskin room. Am I saying that correctly? Fishkin, sorry, Mark. Please follow out for the reception, and thank you so much.
Then Cedric Williams, Ericka Huggins, ShakaJamal, and Kamau Bell. Go ahead.
Thank you. So it is an honor to be here this evening. These are once-in-a-lifetime opportunities to have individuals who really have their eye and their finger on the footprint of what's going on in society today. And it's just a pleasure to share space with these amazing individuals. I'm the school board director in Oakland. I'm a 24-year educator in San Francisco, high school history, social studies. I've taught 6 through 12. Very fortunate to live in Oakland. As a public school teacher, we are always trying to find ways to bring the right resources to our schools. I think that's really been a challenge, and we've been constrained a lot by budgets a lot of times, and so we've been struggling with that. But when I was introduced to this film, I Am Hope, it really actually gave me hope in regards to how much resources do you need to teach yoga in school, right? It takes it shouldn't even take a brave human being. It takes a human being who loves young folks to want to give back and give them some skills that they can use to further their lives. And so I was so moved by this documentary. Thank you, Shaka. I want to say thank you very much for that. Give him a hand.
Thank you, yo.
Most definitely. I'm going to give Shaka the first question, but first, I really want to highlight Miss Ericka Huggins. Give her a hand. Wow. Over in Oakland, we actually have a campus of one of our high schools, Met West. It's a 9th grade academy, and we have the Ericka Huggins Academy. So we're so honored to have her represent our school. And one of the things I found out, she was part of the first community school in Oakland in the 70s. And so we are now actually instituting community schools in our district 40 years later. So it shows how far in advance the Black Panther Party was on providing community benefits. And Miss Ericka Huggins was one of the founders and leaders of that work. And so it's an honor to have her on the stage here. Thank you very, very much. Mr. W. Kamau Bell. I'm a fanboy. Let me say I'm a fanboy of just being, having your particular show every Sunday at 7:30 p.m. CNN is a great opportunity to hear a Black voice that is talking to America and questioning, lifting up, trying to figure out interconnection with all of us in society. I think the job that you're doing is amazing, and I just want to, honor you for taking that on, showing the stories, and being able to articulate to all of us your feelings, your thoughts, your emotions, because we all connect with you. So it is always an honor to be here sitting on this panel with you. So thank you for coming as well. So I just want to get into it. When you're with Black folks, it's really hard to have a structured conversation because folks have ideas and we just jump in and jump out, So it's
like double dutch.
Thank you. See, so we just jump in and jump out. So this is really just going to be kind of like what we call family conversation. This is just an opportunity if when the thought comes to you, someone's going to jump in. But I'll set it off, and then we'll see where it go, and then I will set off the next topic coming through. And so one of the things I really wanted to talk about when I saw this film was transformation, how young folks throughout the film had to actually trust Shaka and learn the ways of how yoga can be helpful, but by the end, you can see the transformation when he went to the Principals Institute and had the young folks do a presentation and lead, right? And I said, amazing. Imagine if we had all of our young folks at that particular level. There's a sense of transformation that happens when they're introduced to mindfulness, when they're introduced to consciousness and kind of understanding the power within. Can you go ahead and elaborate on that, Shaka?
Okay. Can I do one thing?
Sure. He said we can jump in. Just jump in.
My brother's in the back. Kenanio, Ramisi. Can y'all stand up, please?
Come up to the front.
I just want to highlight them.
Come up to the front. Come up to the front.
Where's Ramisi? He's in the back. Oh, in the back. Okay. So I just want to highlight Kenanio here. You might recognize him from the film. He's a little bit older now, right? He's actually the first face you see when you're looking down at the yoga mats, on the very first in the beginning. Oh, there's Ramisi right there. Give him a hand, y'all.
Yeah.
Kid's got a beard.
Yes. He needs no ID. So I'm here sitting in front of y'all, but it really doesn't mean anything because it's about the kids. That's right. If they didn't trust us to allow us to point these cameras in their faces while they're doing something that's very vulnerable, some of them had never heard of yoga before, because they could have turned the class out if they wanted to. I'm just in there facilitating energy, but if they knew if they really wanted to take over the class, they could take over the class. So I just really have to uplift and honor them for allowing me to come in, someone they never met before, to do the work, trust us to film, and to also thank them for just coming here and be able to share this time with us. As now the film is out. So I just want to highlight y'all and really Kenanio, thank y'all.
Yes.
East Oakland's finest. Thank y'all. Now I got to get back to the question. Transformation. Okay. The transformation, I feel like a large piece of it was, you heard me talk about in the film, when I was able to center myself and do the practice before I showed up, more than likely 9 times out of 10, we had a great class. So one thing I realized, I had to do the work in order for it to work in the classroom. That's like a history teacher going in to teach a history class, but they never picked up a book. They never sat around a fire and listened to an elder speak. It just doesn't work like that because the kids will spot you out. This person is a fraud, and we will make sure everybody in the school knows this teacher ain't. Yeah, y'all can fill in the blank. And that was a part of that transformation, is that what I wanted and what I yearned for in them was also a deep yearning within.
Thank you. That's beautiful. Miss Ericka Huggins, as we're speaking about transformation, I think you have really continued to lead and practice in mindfulness and transformation from your Black Panther days. How do you think? How is it possible to lift our young folks up through transforming themselves through yoga and mindfulness? What have you seen in your experience that really will allow young folks to actually grow themselves from not just what society thinks, but be able to create their own reality and their own identity and really just transform into a human being that is powerful beyond measure?
Well, I actually believe that we're all born powerful beyond measure. And that if the schools, particularly the public schools, but all schools, were staffed by people who were trained to believe that that is so, because teachers are not trained in this way, then it would be different. Hello, Oakland School Board. Anyway, so, no, but what I mean is when I was teaching adults, I had the great opportunity to work with teachers, student teachers. They were never taught anything about students who live in conditions of poverty. There's no poverty inside each of us, but there are external conditions that are often, I'm being very mindful of what I say, are there and continue to be there because of structures that a child, a teenager, a mother, a father, a grandmother cannot change alone. Sometimes these experiences are traumatic. I didn't learn in a school. I learned about mindful practice when I was incarcerated as a member of the Black Panther Party. I was in solitary confinement. And I had a really important reason to turn my attention in, because I couldn't continue in that setting in that way. Well, some of our communities are like that setting I was in or feel that way. So I think we just need to, as your film says, and thank you so much for it, you're a bright light. Really.
Yes.
That no matter who we are, there is power within us, and there is love within us, and there is joy. And how often do we forget joy? And children live in a state of joy, but if it isn't allowed to shine out from them in the way that they want to shine it, in the language that they speak, then we've really missed a bunch of boats. We're never going to get to another shore. And so what am I trying to say? That there isn't one way to reach our children, but one of the ways is to pay attention to who is in front of you.
Thank you. I agree. Fun fact, I was in the back, we were in the back room talking, and Miss Ericka Huggins said, did you know that 66% of the Black Panthers were women? Wow. And so I didn't get a chance to give her my list of Black Panther women, so I'm going to name off a few just to let you know the company that she keeps.
Go ahead.
Yes, let's go. Just real. You just got to know. Asada Shakur, Elaine Brown, Kathleen Cleaver,
Yes.
Afeni Shakur,
Yes.
Frederica Newton,
Yes.
Frances Beale.
Yes.
Oh, and in the movie Mama C,
Yes.
right? Rosemarie Mealy, Barbara Easley Cox, and Angela Davis, right? And they have all made an impact in every space they've been in.
And there are hundreds of others,
Thank you.
some of whom are still alive. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So, Kamau, here we go, man. So, transformation. You're going to give us the kind of national perspective, right? Because you get into all these spaces.
Good to know. I was wondering what I was doing here, so now I know. I was happy to be invited to watch this film, so yes.
Yes.
Anytime I can get to Marin.
You did an episode, season 5, episode 3.
Just gonna let it land.
I missed that one.
But it landed. It landed.
No, it did. I appreciate it.
I'm all trying to do the research, and he's got jokes on me, man. I love it. I'm like, okay. There's one of the episodes that you really did about schools, and one of the young men in the episode mentioned you can tell much about your students based on the zip code that they're from, right? And to know where your students are from, to know where they're going, they need to know where they're from. But I'm sure you've had multiple conversations throughout our state, our society, about public schools, and ways of like making schools better. When we talk about transformation, bringing yoga into public schools, what do you think? You have children as well. Do you think
That is correct.
Do you think that is a way of really moving our public schools to a more conscious, aware, humanity first idea, notion? What do you think about that?
Yeah, so first of all, I'm going to jump around because you said it, we could. So first of all, I just want to just give you all the respect as a filmmaker. There's the yoga piece, but there's also the filmmaker piece.
Thank you.
So I just want to make sure that that's not easy as someone who has done some of that. So, and as I watch, I was like, man, am I out of a job? And I'm happy to be, I really just, and I'm so happy to know that you are in Oakland because we need filmmakers like you in Oakland.
Thank you.
So yeah, I just want to say that.
And look, I didn't do it on my own. My producer is right there, Wendy, my editor, Steve, right there. If it wasn't for them,
Yeah.
couldn't have got done.
That's how I know you're a really good filmmaker, because you know to point to the people who are also working on the team. So, yeah. So, I think it's a really emotional film. It was for me. I don't know how anybody else felt about this. But, like, to see so much of public school education, especially as far as it goes for black and brown kids, is about, like you said the word policing in the film earlier, is about policing and about test taking and about behavior. There are places, this program, but so little of it is about like meeting the kids where they are and figuring out ways for them to connect to who they are on the inside, not just who they are on the outside. And that's so powerful and needed and should be institutionalized in public schools. So for me, part of it's hard to watch because you just know that like we put so much burden on the parents for not doing their quote unquote job. And then the kids show up at school. And as I learned in that episode of United Shades, teachers can't teach any kid who's hungry. No. You can't be a good enough teacher to teach a hungry kid. So the schools, I don't know if you know, there's an organization called the Black Panthers who decided to give out free breakfast. Has anybody up here ever heard of that? Has anybody ever heard of that? There's so many more things that kids need to when you raise them other than learn these math problems. That is like the smallest piece of it for me. I tell my kids all the time, I don't care about your homework at all. I want you to try, but I'm not going to be coming here yelling at you about your grades. I want you to try, and I want you to learn how to learn. So for me, to think that there was this time in this school where they allowed that kind of valuable time that would normally be taken up with just shoving facts into kids' heads with like, no, let's breathe. That's very powerful. And it's also a little bit sad because, that's one school. One school in Oakland, And so for me, I am hope, but now, and this is a room full of people of privilege because you were able to come here on a Friday afternoon. I challenge you who are in here, who came here unaware and not connected to this film. I know there's people in here who are connected to the film. The people who are not connected, who just came here as customers. How can you create more of this? How can you spread the word about this? I feel like so often we go to these things, you go to a movie, especially a documentary, and you think it's over. The challenge, okay, thank you. The challenge is how can those of us who have the free time, resources, privilege, networks, create more of this so this isn't special? So for me, it's like, it was really like, it was a really powerful film, and I'm excited to spread the word, but I'm also excited that we have to look at this as a homework assignment for those of us who are in here. We have to build on this. Did that answer your question?
No, not really, because we're talking about transformation.
No, so I think because that will lead to the transformation.
Okay.
That's where the transformation comes from.
There we go.
So there's all this piece that I travel all the time, and people want to ask me like, is it really bad as it seems? And they want me to go, nah. It's actually okay. And I'm like, yeah, it's actually worse than it seems, probably. So, but I'm not telling you that so you should go, all right, I should give up. I'm telling you that because you should breathe and you should connect to yourself and you should look around and figure out, how can I make it better? Especially as we know all the news that is coming across our internet every day. How can I make it better? So yeah, the transformation comes. People ask me if I'm like optimistic, and I feel like I'm only optimistic if I do the work. Yeah. I'm only optimistic if I see other people doing the work. I'm only optimistic if people who aren't doing the work go, I should probably start doing the work. So for me, that's where the optimism comes from. It's just like, and I always say that anytime I feel like it's so hard to be a filmmaker and a TV host and a comedian, the ghost of Harriet Tubman pops up and goes, oh, is that hard? Oh, is it hard to make films? Tell me about it, Kamau. So even though it is challenging to do this work, we have to have some perspective.
Thank you.
Did that answer the question?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And I'm gonna help the brother man out. He has a book called "Do the Work," anti-racist activity book. Oh, there we go. Please turn around. Yes, do the work.
This is not planned, but it will be from now on. Thank you. Thank you.
Excellent. So let's go to the movie a little bit. So one of the things I really wanted to talk about is Mama C. Powerful, powerful, powerful scene. I wrote some things down. Call out the ancestors.
Yes.
That was so. There's many. So let me just list them, and then we can jump into any one of those. Call out the ancestors. She called the young students brothers and sisters. Like it's a cultural thing, but I want to ask you more about. Actually, I'm gonna ask you. Have you seen like white people call out each other brothers and sisters, like black folks do? Kamau?
Are you asking me?
Yes. Yeah.
I mean, they've gentrified that one. Yeah, that's happened.
Okay.
I mean, you see some hippies from back in the day, brother and sister. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Just
yeah. But it doesn't land the same. Let's be clear about that.
But they do. It's more like, hey, bro. It's not really brother. It's
and I think that's my point, right? There's a sense about cultural community, being able to tap into what is a cultural, uplifting notion, right? That as young folks, black and brown kids, we're brothers and sisters, a unity that is there. And I really thought that that was very powerful. She spoke about Black Panthers. She spoke about don't let them take your joy. Don't let them take your joy. And, joy keeps your battery charged up, and all of us have ancestors. And they're so profound statements that she was making to the young folks. I was really touched by that because it made me actually think about how I operate in this world, right? And so I really want to put that out to you, all three of you, Ms. Huggins, in a way of regarding the relationship that Mama Z, back in the day, we would say grandma was like the person to always watch. She was the pillar of the house. She was the matriarch of the house. Today, society is changing a little bit. Grandma's still there, but the structures are different, right? And what Mama C brought was this kind of grandmother, this kind of cultural caring, this wisdom that she was dropping on the young folks. And I just really want to ask you how powerful that is in the things that Miss Mama C was talking about.
Well, knowing her as I do, I was delighted that she was in the film. And she actually is only modeling what she's learned. I think that, once again, if mindful practice was taught to instructors, something would be different, because then we would go to our school boards and our city councils and all of the other coinciding systems and say, this needs to happen for our children. They are all our children. But we're not taught that they're all our children. We're taught that our children are at home and I go to school and I'm a teacher or an instructor. Those are different conceptual things. So what I felt so happy about when I listened to Mama C is that she was bringing home something that happens at home. Not for everyone, but for those young people. I don't think I told you, and I'm not sure I told you, and maybe you know about it, but I was in an early initiative called the Mind-Body Medical Initiative. It was a Harvard Medical School affiliate. And I was called by Dr. Herbert Benson, who created something hypoallergenic for doctors called the relaxation response. It was meditation. But then he wanted to bring it into the public schools because his teacher friend said, I have heart trouble, so I really need to breathe and relax. You want to see where it's important that human beings breathe and relax? Come to my classroom in Boston. And it was just unbelievable for Herbert to go in to that public school and see the surroundings, the classroom management, what was going on outside, what was going on in community, what was going on in the children, and so on. And he created an in-school initiative for mindfulness. Then he realized that the Mind-Body Medical Institute was all white. This is a true story. And he called me and he said, I hear you meditate. Would you help us out? And I said, sure, what can I do? And he said, we have a huge grant and we want you to go into the public schools. You're an educator. We want you to go in and take our simple practice to the faculty and to the children. And I did this for 5 years in Los Angeles, in Boston, in New York, in Oakland, in every level from Head Start all the way up through community college. It was one of the best parts of my life. Easily replicable. It didn't cost the schools anything. And it didn't cost me anything. It gave me such a touch of the pulse of our young people. That was many years ago, and that's why I'm so struck by what you're doing. Because I did it. And I just would show up. And I'll stop by saying this one thing. That I was in Horace Mann Middle School in South Central Los Angeles after what we call the riots. Remember Rodney King? And I was asked to go into South Central. And, you know, all the schools in the black community are named Horace Mann or Thomas Jefferson. But at any rate, I went in, and there was an 8th grader. I'll never forget. I can still see her face. This was in the 90s. And we would breathe, and then we would sit for what we called relaxation. And we would do this full body relaxation. And then when we finished, after a few minutes, I would just say, how was that? Sometimes I say, what's up? And this girl was sitting in the back of the classroom, and she was looking very directly at me, and she said, I said, yeah. She said, how come I didn't notice and nobody told me? How come I didn't know that I had all that in me? I'm in the 8th grade, nobody told me. I want you to tell all your friends, and I do this every time I have the opportunity to talk about any kind of mindful practice. I recall her. I promised her I would. She said, you tell all your friends that they need to start when we're babies. Because somebody has this, we don't. She was so brave and so wise and so honest and full of love. Now, some people don't know that that's love. They feel put upon and accused and ready to cry. She was just calling it as she saw it. She was one of the best students in our mindful practice and always wanted to do more. I wish her well wherever she is. So I hope that's helpful, because this was put together for educators. Is that right? A number of you are educators. So thank you for the work that you do. And I think that when I worked in the schools doing what you're doing now, I found that the educators were the first line of who needed to relax and breathe. Matter of fact, the students would say, you need to go to Miss So-and-so class. She need to breathe. See the trailer over there? Mm-hmm. And I would go, and I would find that that was true. Yelling and screaming at 6th graders, accusing them of not wanting to learn. I would tell your mother, but you probably don't have one. I saw all of it, but it comes from what your shows talk about. It comes from why you wanted to do this. We want to do this because there is a lack of love that can be for the students in some settings. Bless you. In some settings, there is not enough love. And we can bring it. We can always bring it. So I feel like I talked a long time, but it's okay.
Good, you good, you getting it.
Nobody's bothered by that.
No. And I want to.
And we have a surprise for you coming in 10 minutes.
Really?
Yes.
Yeah, but what were you going to say?
So I'm over here in the morning. I'm trying to pray, get ready. Van Surgery and I have been trying to contact each other and talk before, but we've been missing each other. What time we talk this morning? 6:45 or something? So we had this conversation a bit about how you ended. Quickly, we realized, I think this was something that I was thinking about when I was a kid too, in OUSD and other educational settings. More force doesn't mean more power. And the more forceful we are with the students, the more they push back and rebel because they're protecting themselves, right? Force does not equal to power. And this practice allows us to have power without using force. And teachers need to be equipped with that.
Absolutely. It's easier for the It's easier for the teacher. There's less classroom, quote, management. The teacher can relax, and that's what I remember in South Central and East Oakland and West Oakland and Hunters Point. The teachers started enjoying their students and the classroom and the work that they were sharing. So, yeah, it's good all around. It really, really is. And I remember when we went to the California State Department of Education to say, we'd like to share this curriculum with you. Would you accept it, and would you allow us to come in at no cost to the schools? No. But that was then, and this is now.
Ashe.
To what Kamau said. We can all shift it if we feel like it's important.
I think I'm for sure knowing that this documentary is very important, and I really hope that individuals here who have children in schools, who know a teacher, who knows a principal, who knows an administrator, actually share this documentary, share the link with them, right? Because it definitely gives you a perspective that is good for all of our students. The sense of mindfulness, the sense of self-love, the consciousness about what we actually have inside. So much of our marketing today tells us to get these material things. You know, there's a picture with a smile on it. Everything you buy, there's a picture with someone saying how happy they are when you purchase it. When actually the happiness and the joy is inside of us, right? And so this is a great opportunity to really, create a transformation, a movement to say, hey, there's another way that we can do it to bring some happiness, to have our kids learn about self-regulation, self-love. I think that is so powerful. And this is a great example of that. And it has many examples of Mama Z, having Shaka as a black male educator coming into space to really, teach young folks. Again, you don't need to yell at students. You don't need to kick them out of class. You don't need to use force. You actually can treat them like young little people and teach them skills that will benefit a lifetime. And it does come with us first. Right? So we're at a point in our lives, we've probably had all the material stuff. Now we're seeking what else is more. And many folks you see are going to practicing mindfulness now at their old. Imagine if you were 13, right? And you're actually at this place of learning this this energy, this skill, this mindfulness at a young age. That's how powerful it could be, because I know many of us practice it today, right now. Just want to share, Mr. Kamau.
Yeah, this is bringing up a lot for me. So as a parent, I have a kid who holds a lot of anxiety. That was my gift to her. That's the family legacy. And And the PE component to this is really important too. Like I heard you say you're a PE teacher, and so much of physical education in this country is about competition, is about confrontation, is about winning, is about it's about you were the fastest, you were the slowest, you need to be faster. And so I have this kid who's wants to move her body but does not want to be competitive about it, and so has a real struggle with PE. And I sit here going that's all she wants to do. If she just walked into a room and said, we're going to do yoga, she'd be like, ah. But there's such a brokenness specifically around sports in this country that makes people crazy. That it really takes away from what you should be doing in these classes is learning about your body and learning about how to use your body. And because my kid has this broken relationship to PE, and specifically this one teacher, he said to her in class one day, I don't know what to do with you. And she tells me that, and you have that moment, and I'm sure many black fathers have this moment, am I about to go to jail? What are you doing to my kid by saying, I don't know what to do with you? And I asked her, I was like, what was he teaching you in class that day? Throwing mechanics. I'm trying not to swear because you didn't swear. And it just shows that, and then related to that is this idea that we have American capitalism has convinced us that yoga is expensive and for white people. And I think the whole way this flips that whole narrative that yoga's not for you if you're not a person who can afford Lululemon. Yeah. And so there's another piece of this too, is that we have the things that are most healthy, and this is true in black communities and brown communities, the things that are healthy for us, that would help us, American capitalism has told us that they are expensive and they're not for you. Mm-hmm. And so programs like this show you that this is for you, and we have to prioritize making it for the people as certainly Ericka has done, and certainly this does.
Thanks.
I want to touch with the affirmation, the mantra. Most definitely. I love the affirmation I'm writing it down, so I definitely will continue to bring that up.
Can we all say it together?
Yes. Shaka, go ahead.
Okay, y'all already agreed. Okay. Please, I invite you to repeat after me. My mind is strong.
My mind is strong.
My body is strong.
My body is strong.
I am unbounded faith.
I am unbounded faith.
I am hope.
I am hope.
And in the classroom, we did that every day. Every single day. We rang the bell every single day. And we practiced and connected with our breath. Sometimes there would be something wild going on in school, wild going on in the neighborhood, and we wouldn't do anything else in class. That would be the three things that we did. And then sometimes we would draw mandalas for the rest of the class. Sometimes we would go to sleep. Because I talked to the kids, said, hey, what's going on with you? What time you go to sleep last night? 3:30. What time you wake up? 6:45. Right? I said, nobody is telling you to go to sleep. No. What are you up doing? Playing video games, watching TV. And then sometimes we might do a few movements, and people are out in Shavasana. Gone. Right? So I also learned that it was key that we had a routine, but also I had to be open at the same time for what was going on in the kids' internal environment and an external environment. And the interesting thing is I want to shout out Naroga. Can y'all raise your hand, Naroga? Y'all in the house? All right. So they are actually the ones who trained me in my 200-hour certification in yoga, and who also the first who brought the contract to Frick. And that mantra came from when I was in yoga training, and we were reading Swami Vivekananda. Right, he was one of the first people to bring yoga this side. And he had this book. He said, you have to tell yourself you're strong, tell yourself you're this. It was all about these affirmations. I said, oh, he's talking to me. So it was actually a tool that I started using for myself, and then started sharing it with the kids. And then we did it 4 times in honor of the 4 directions of the earth, and had some meaning to it. And it just like, okay, this was something that we needed. And if you in the film, which is also part of the curriculum that we've built with the film, y'all saw in the film the kids wrote their own affirmations. The kid was like, he said, I am pizza because I'm warm, right? And their imagination, and they really took it on as their own, right? And I think that's the magic of this, is that I think we have this insight and intuition that says, okay, this made me feel good. Let me share it with someone else. And then that kid gets it. And we found out later some of the kids are connected to, I didn't notice at the time, they were going home teaching their little brothers and sisters. Yes. Right? They might have had somebody who wasn't so mobile at the home that they started doing the bell practice with and breathing with. You know, some of these kids are coming to school taking care of people in their home. They're like, at 13, 14 years old, they have the responsibility of someone in their 20s and 30s. Yes. So sometimes, you know, people wonder why they get attitudes from kids like, why are you telling me what to do? Right? They already are navigating in the world as leaders, and we treat them as followers. And I think a part of that was just about building them up in a way to say, I see you. Right? I see that you're a leader. Now you're going to be the one who leads the class, and I get to sit back and take the class from them. And then they begin to regulate each other. They say, hey, we gotta chill out. We can play after the affirmation, after the bell. Because usually after that, things kind of opened up a little bit. And a kid's yoga class is very different than what most of us take. Sometimes we have to start off with 20, 30 jumping jacks. Right? Most people don't do jumping jacks in a yoga class. And to bring it back around, when we were working more so with DM, dynamic mindfulness, with Naroga, it was a way for us to get inside the schools. Because many times when you say yoga, people turn the other way. We don't want that religion here, right? When yoga is something that unifies us all, no matter what religion or non-religion that you practice.
That's the translation of the word. It means union.
Yes. And the principal at the school, first I started off with 15 minutes of dynamic mindfulness inside the classes. We went on for a couple semesters, and it started building. And we started talking more and more to Naroga, talking more and more to the principal. And the principal was like, we need to do some yoga classes in here. And before we know it, the room that you saw everything, he said, we got a whole room for y'all. And we're going to give you 90 minutes. I was like, oh, they about to fire me, because there's no way I can handle kids for 90 minutes, because 15 minutes is an eternity at times. So we started, where's Sister Sylvia? Right here. Y'all remember Sylvia from the movie? Say what's up. Stand up so they can see you. Right? When I was first introduced to yoga, I shadowed somebody. Right? And then she got her 200-hour certification. As a part of Naroga, we have to give 100 hours for free back to the community in order to get our certification. So she gave her 100 hours to Frick and the kids in East Oakland. But soon we knew that what we were trained with was good for 15, 20, but for 90 minutes. So we started developing other ways to keep the kids' attention and learn that mindfulness and yoga doesn't have to be like this. Right? Y'all saw we had dancers come in. The dancers was like, oh, I stretch. You know, they were some of the bone breakers. They can twist their arms in all different places. We had musicians come in. We had Mama C come in. Anybody you think of who had something inspiring to share, we knew that we could tie it back to yoga and meditation and mindfulness, which, you know, it was a gift for us and for the students.
Thank you, Shaka. Really appreciate that. Please give him a hand. Most definitely. Give Mr. Kamau Bell a hand. This is our Black Folk conversation today.
We got to stop?
Yes, we're going to start going to the end. Yes. Okay. But I did promise you a gift. Miss Ericka Huggins actually has, as she mentioned earlier, had trained in Harvard on mind, body.
Harvard. It was connected.
Oh, okay, connected to Harvard. Yes, the Medical Institute, Herbert Benson Institute, Resiliency School. So I really will ask Ms. Huggins, can you please give us 5 minutes? Show us what you got. Show us what you got in the next 5 minutes. So everybody, our gift to you is this mindfulness. So please take a few minutes.
Okay.
Oops.
Kamau. Yes. Before I do this, I want to say that I'm so sorry that that teacher said that to your daughter. Knowing her, whichever one it was. I'm so sorry. And thank goodness she has you as a dad.
I see.
So this is what we would do. This is what Shaka does. This is what Naroga does. But this is what we did when I would go into the schools. And the way that I did it was the way also that I did it when I was in solitary. So just put your feet flat on the floor. And if your feet don't touch the floor, you can just sit forward on your chair. And just become aware that you are breathing. You don't have to change your breath or do anything fancy. You're just aware that you are breathing in and out. You can close your eyes if you like, but if you don't like closing your eyes in a room full of people, then you can just focus your attention on your lap. It's inward. And if your thoughts are holding a committee meeting, you can just say, I'll get back to you later. And continue to breathe at a pace that works for you. There is so much goodness inside you. Sit with it. If you're uncomfortable, send your breath to that part of your body or that place in your heart. Whenever you like, you can take 2 or 3 deep breaths in and out. And just become aware of your body and your mind. And how you're feeling. What you just experienced was just a few minutes. What was that experience? So now we can all bring our awareness back to this room, in this place. Thank you.
Thank you, Miss Ericka Huggins. Thank you. So, really appreciative for all of you to be here today to witness this. These are once-in-a-lifetime moments. So may I ask you to please give our panelists one more hand. Thank you again. We are going to meet at the Mark Fishkin's room downstairs where we can have individual conversations. We look forward to talking to you. We have now completed our panel discussion on I Am Hope. Please share this with a friend, with a teacher, with a...
Can we say it one more time?
Let's give it up.
My mind is strong.
My mind is strong.
My body is strong.
My body is strong.
I am unbounded faith.